Hey Jan, great to hear from you. And I just want to make this quick video for you addressing your question. I was so glad to hear from you and to hear that you are calling and thanking and updating your donors at this stage in the year. That's very important to do, preceding any efforts to ask them to give again or to give more significantly. Your specific question, you said you have the board and you individually call key donors and monthly partners and thank them. You thank them, you give them a brief update, then you ask them if you have any questions about how their gifts are used, which is all great. And then you said that when people do this, people are so happy to hear from you, which is to be expected. But they don't really have any questions. So you're asking, is there something else we should say? So this is a great question. Well, here's what we teach. We teach that you need to thank and report prior to asking people to give. And it's not enough to just call and say thank you and give them an update, although that's a huge step in the right direction. And frankly, if you're doing that, you're doing more than most organizations do. Where I would challenge you to try to improve is to first send a written report. And it could be as simple as a letter. It doesn't have to be anything that's overly produced, but it's simply putting in writing for them a broad sort of update and report on the impact of their giving, sort of what you said in the past you were going to do and what you're actually doing. Send that via mail and send it via email, then begin your calling. And when you're calling, then you are calling to call attention to the fact that you're reporting. So we teach that reporting is not reporting unless you've called attention to it. Otherwise, it just doesn't get noticed. We've seen organizations where people are doing a lot of reporting. They're sending out beautiful pieces and an annual report, and they're thanking their people, and they're sending them letters, and they're calling some of them. But when you actually ask the givers, do you feel like you have an understanding of the impact of your giving or where your giving is going? They go, so no, that's something they really could improve on. And so we're like, why is this happening? If they're doing what we would think is good reporting and good communicating, why is it donors don't feel that way? So what matters is the donor's perception of the reporting. So it's very important that no matter what you do in your reporting, that you call attention to the fact that you're doing this. So you send a letter, send an email that calls attention to the letter, and then do your calling. And when you call, you're saying, I'm calling to give you an update and say thank you. And most importantly, give you a report on the impact of your giving to our ministry. It's very important to us that you know where your gifts are going. So we recently sent you a letter. I hope you've had the opportunity to read that, to which you're just like, oh, I saw that somewhere. I didn't get a chance to read it. Well, I really would encourage you to read it because it's going to give you a great glimpse of the difference that you're making. But here's a few things that I want to share with you to really report the impact of your giving. So you really have to blow a trumpet and put a light on the fact that you're reporting. That's what actually moves that relationship forward and positions your organization in the mind of the giver at a different level, makes it a different priority in their mind because you are approaching this with a high degree of stewardship and professionalism. Now, the last thing I'd say is when you're calling to say thank you and give a report, most of the time people are thrilled to hear from you. So it's pretty normal actually for them to not have any questions. That indicates that you're doing a good job in what you're sharing with them. But what you're trying to do is more than questions, create a dialogue. So don't just regurgitate a bunch of talking points. Try to have some conversations with them. Now, the last thing I would say that caught my attention is that you said that you're calling the top donors and your monthly partners, which again is great. If you're looking for a way to improve and grow your giving, my challenge to you would be call every donor. So call them as they're making gifts or in your thanking and reporting season. Call as many donors as possible. Go as far down the donor list as you can, and donors to regain list, people who've given in the past but not in recent years. What's great about this is you can engage volunteers in this because it's not a phone-a-thon. You just need a few well-trained volunteers who have a real heart for this, and they're just calling to say thank you and just calling to give them a report. Why? Because it's very important to us that you know where your gifts have gone and the difference that you are making in the lives of the people that we serve. So, again, great to hear from you. I'm so grateful for this question. You can tell it's a topic I'm really passionate about. I'm so thrilled to hear what you're already doing, but take it to the next level, okay? And let me know how it goes. I'll talk to you soon.